Hello, hello, and welcome to the second half of season 5. I can't believe that we're already halfway through the year. My name is Debbie Heiser. I help entrepreneurs make a lot of money doing what they love without sacrificing what's important to them. I feel an urgency to help people let go of past messaging so that they can lead a lit up life. And with that, I want to again welcome you. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the show.
Straight from the corners of my mind is where I find my sanity. It's a place, another land, another time.
Hello there. Before we get started with this week's episode, I wanted to pop in here just really quickly and offer up to you 2 different ways that you can work with me. I have private clients that I work with throughout the year to help them quantum leap their business, identify what they want their life to look like so that the business becomes a conduit to that versus running their life. And then the second one is a women's mastermind. This is the second one to kick off, and I'm so excited to start this one in 2024. And I believe the retreat is going to be potentially in Belize, but keep an eye out for it. But this is where we get together, again, quantum leap your business, but it's with a group of other really high vibrational, successful businesswomen that want to level up, want to continue to progress in their achievements and in their business. So with that, click away on the website and check out those exciting events. I'd love to either see you as a private client or in the 2024 Women's Mastermind. Hello there. This is Debbie Heiser with Lead Your Life with Debbie Heiser. Welcome today. I have to tell you, it was pretty interesting. I recorded a podcast yesterday that was phenomenal, and I'm going to try to recreate it today. However, we cannot find it anywhere. So I thought I recorded it, but I literally cannot find it anywhere. So it must be a message that I needed to add some more information to. So I want to introduce myself. My name's Debbie Heiser. I really help people, bottom line, get to the point where they understand what their true identity is, and then step forward in that and be able to monetize that, make money from doing it, and make a lot of money. And that's why I say I help people make a lot of money doing what they love without sacrificing what's important to them. And this week and the end of last week, I was meeting with a lot of clients that have had some pretty heavy stuff going on. And the idea came to me to talk a little bit about this idea of the law, some of the laws. And the law of relativity talks about there is no value assigned to anything until we assign value to it. So everything just is. And once we start to compare, which comparison is the killer of joy, that's then what stops us from stepping forward into that true identity and really experiencing joy. It doesn't mean that we can't have joy elsewhere, but like that deep, like soul cellular joy that's there. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was this idea of the universal law of relativity, but also this idea that we're really powerful. You know, we have the ability to change the expression of our genetic makeup. I sat on an all-day conference with the DNA company and one of my mentors, Peter Crone, and we looked at actually like results from a DNA test that I did about propensity and not finding something wrong with me, but how I could enhance my and help my body keep healthy. And so it was very interesting. And as we looked at it, and the whole idea of epigenetics is about how we can change the expression of that gene. And I'm going to use an example. One of the things that came up in my genetic expression is, or not expression, excuse me, in my actual genetic makeup, the letters and numbers and all the stuff that they use. That was very confusing for me. But was the fact that I hang on to inflammation more than most people do. And it doesn't mean I'm broken. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with me. It just means that certain things, and I noticed that dust, I used to joke that I was allergic to cleaning, but like dust and other things are irritants to me that cause inflammation in my body. And so I have the power to make changes that then can change the expression of how that lives out, right? I can do things to support my body in knowing foods that cause me to have more inflammation. I can manage my stress. I started using these patches that, if you want to know more about, you can ask me about it, but that also have helped with inflammation. Anyway, it's about how we can then best support what we do. And that falls into every avenue. That falls into physically our bodies. And if you followed me for any length of time, you've heard me say that physically we have to be healthy. Otherwise, we can't live out our like this divine identity that we have, this true identity. And what do I mean by true identity? What I mean by that is, like, I'm a teacher, I'm a healer, I'm a connector, and I'm an influencer. And if I'm doing one of those four things, I'm happy. If I'm doing all four, I am lit up. And I kind of joke that back in the day, I sold Yellow Pages, which is aging me. And for anyone listening that worked with me, it was such a great company to work for. But I had a manager one time tell me, I'm not selling Yellow Pages, I'm selling hopes, wishes, and dreams, meaning I'm helping business owners bring in more clients so that they can then increase their revenues and do the things that they want to do. Those hopes, wishes, and dreams that they have. Some people it's travel, other people it was to expand, whatever the case would be. And funny thing is, I'm doing that today, but just in a different way. So, teaching at Gonzaga, a couple of classes, doing teaching of my own and hosting retreats, having the mastermind, working with private clients to really break through and find that true identity so that they can then go forward and make decisions, because we sit in a lot of uncertainty, but we have the power. We have the power to change that. And so when we look at the law of relativity and we look at this idea of comparison, and we look at this idea of how we look at everyone else and the journey that they're on, and we think that's where we need to be. I think about social media, and I know the intention was pure when it came out around helping people connect. And there are things that happen that we just don't even foresee. And so this idea, and I ran into this in Italy for the first time, I was actually a little shocked about it, about how many people I saw with little tripods and their I don't even know what they're called. Isn't that terrible? But like where there's extenders, the selfie sticks, I think is what they call them, and how they would sit there and pose, or have their partner like take pictures of them posing in front of these things and making videos to influence. And it was all about the place that they were at. And I thought, there's pros and cons to that, but part of the con that I'm talking about is this comparison. And just because you're not in the Cinque Terre, right on the bay, experiencing this experience doesn't mean that you don't have joy or that you can't be grateful for what you have. My mentor says that, I think he uses happiness or joy, that joy is found in the absence of looking for joy. Right? Because if we're looking for it, we're insinuating subconsciously that we don't have it. And I would challenge you in a powerful way in your mind to think about, what are all of the areas that you have joy in? What are all of the areas that you have gratitude about? I feel like I'm a fairly healthy person. Do I have a little bit of excess that I wouldn't like to have on my body? Sure. But I also look at, and I was in this point, I think it was, I don't remember when it was, last summer, and towards the beginning of this summer. And my, I call her my semi-quasi daughter. It's my cousin's daughter, April, who's been on a podcast, was driving. She inspires me, driving to Alaska to go to work for the summer. And she stopped at my house for a couple of days. And she said to me, I love coming here because you're so healthy. I eat so many vegetables, because when I make scrambled eggs, I usually put in a bunch of different vegetables. And for anyone that's had a salad with me, lettuce is only an accompaniment. It's not the major piece. It's like a mixture of everything. And so that made me step back and go, oh, isn't that interesting that people's, like what we see of ourselves is different than what other people see of us. And so I kind of stopped in my tracks and I thought, oh, I need to employ this same technique around seeing where I'm building health and where I am healthy in my life, which is the gain. And I've talked before about the gap and the gain, but like the gain then of, oh, I am healthy. Here are the areas that I do things that create health in my body. Here's a few things that I do that maybe don't create as much health. So do I want to then, I have the power to choose, and I can choose, right? And the choices then, it's about, if I really, really want that, I really, really wanted this last night and I chose not to get it, this peanut butter cookie at Winter Ridge here in Sandpoint, then I'm going to get it and I'm going to enjoy it and have gratitude about it and be done with it, right? Instead of beating myself up and then lowering the vibration and not vibrating at a vibration of what I want to attract. So this power, like we have so much power in us to change our mindset, to change the way we think, to actually change our physical health. We have the ability to choose. And those choices are so important for us to realize, and thinking about this in a way of like comparison, thinking about choice, thinking about how many times we say, I have to do something. And I did a podcast about this a while ago with I have to versus I get to, right? It changes energetically what's going on. And so when I was looking at all of this and I was thinking about the power that we have and working with some clients that had these like really tough things happening, and they're wanting to move forward in their business, they're wanting to do these things, but they don't understand why they're not able to do it. And, uncovering, then if I know what my true identity is, that it doesn't matter, honestly, what other people think of me. I care very, very deeply, but I just don't worry. And so I guess where I'm kind of talking in circles here a little bit, I feel, but it's so important to me, particularly when I think about this one woman who is so powerful and she just doesn't see herself as those around her see her. And so she gets scared, and messages that we've heard in our past and from teachers are so important, and from parents or other adults in our life or even friends, we hear these messages. And she had heard this message that she was too much, she was too loud, she was too opinionated. And so therefore, throughout life, 50 some years of hearing this message, she decided throughout life that that was true. And so she diminished herself. And now when she's needing to connect with people and talk about what she does and really just show up in love and connect with people, and then that conversation will take place and they'll find out what she does and then hopefully purchase from her. But the point being is that she's afraid to do that. And so when we hear these messages, there is power over us that then changes our mind about who we are and what our true identity is. And so then we're afraid to step in and live fully, and we're afraid to step in and lead a lit up life. Sometimes I've found people are afraid of success. I've gone through that myself. I shared my vivid vision with my team, and then I was like, whoa, hello, is this really going to happen? And wow, who am I to do this? Right? Like we all have these moments. But it's so important to understand how powerful you are. And this woman that I worked for, talking to her then too about the word powerful and how there was a negative connotation about that. And that's how she figured out the messaging that she heard about being too much and being too opinionated. So when we can shift that and look about the fact that we are powerful because we're living what our true identity is, and we were made for this moment, regardless of what your religious beliefs are, whether it's universe, Buddha, God, like we were made to show up in our true identity. And so I would just, challenge you to take a look at where are some places that you feel some tension in your life, where you feel like you're not living your true identity. And it may just come up as, it may not be that blatant, right? It may be, sometimes I talk about how they're very subtle messages that we get, but it may be just a message that's coming to you where you're feeling some discontent. And when we're feeling discontent, there's usually something not aligned. If we're feeling resistance, that like I'm resisting moving forward with something, that's usually a growth edge. So take the power that you have as a person. And, I was talking to somebody just last night too about like standing tall so that you can receive all of that unending energy and that unending love that we have when we're attached to source or universe or God, and receive that so that people can get your overflow instead of not being in alignment with who your true identity is and pouring out on other people, because just because we can do that doesn't mean we should. And so stepping back and using the power that you have within you with your true identity and allowing that to overflow to other people, and it makes your life lit up, and it then also models and helps other people because you're raising your vibration. So I've just dumped a lot of philosophical stuff. Would love to talk more about this. Please put some notes in the comments as you listen to this, and let's have a conversation about it. And with that, folks, it's a wrap. Have a good week, and we'll talk next week. Thanks so much for listening. The song Ride is co-written and sung by Miss Jackie Wilson and her collaborators Tyler Banks, David DJ Lee, and Chris Renee. And a huge shout out to them for allowing us to use this perfect song. Everyone have a fabulous week, and I'll talk to you next week.